on this computer. Hey everybody, Dan Kroll here. Welcome back to the Britt, Kanawha, West Hancock Athletics Podcast. This is episode 42. Tonight I have my first repeat guest, Nate Schreur, or what we call him, Nasty Nate Schreur. How you doing, Mr. Schreur, young man?
Doing good. Sure
Good.
am.
And as you can see, there's three of us on here. So I have another friend of mine, not such young man, my good friend Randy West, all the way out in Hendersonville, North Carolina. How you doing, Randy?
I'm doing great, thanks, Dan.
Good. Randy's not a West Hancock grad, a Britt grad, hasn't been associated with Britt West Hancock, except for the fact that we'd go on walks when he was living here in Iowa, and I would tell him all about Coach Sanger and the football record book and all that. So he's honorary Britt West Hancock. The best part about Randy is where he lives right now in Hendersonville, North Carolina, home of the two, the fattest motorcyclist twins in the world?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you haven't heard that, look it up. Randy's starting a museum, so it'll be pretty fun. So, but anyway, the reason we're doing this is the three of us and possibly a fourth person next year, we're going to be launching a different podcast that's outside of the Britt West Hancock world, just something fun to do. I'm saying it's one of those podcasts where you're going to get smarter and dumber at the same time. You're going to have a good time just listening to it. You're going to learn about everything and nothing at the same time and not have to think at all. So it'll be a fun one where we're just going to do it on the side for fun. So this is kind of our pilot episode, kind of our test episode, work out the kinks and see how it goes. And Randy and Nate have never met until about 9 minutes ago. So it'll be a lot of fun. I'll probably be the one making fun of the other two a little bit, but they'll catch on quick and we'll go from there. So this is still a Britt West Hancock podcast per se. So I do have some sponsors tonight. Normally I would have had 19 sponsors for this episode, but I narrowed it down to 4 because of the nature of the sponsor. It's either timely or it's one that anyone watching, even in North Carolina, can take advantage of. So I picked those 4. If you're one of the 15 others, I just bumped you back to another podcast down the road, so kind of stretch out your sponsorship. But those 4 sponsors for tonight are the Britt Car, Truck, Bike, and Tractor Night Cruise, the World with Nate podcast, Mary Jo's Hobo House, and the West Hancock Hall of Fame. I chose those again because some are timely, they're time sensitive, and the World with Nate podcast, anyone in the world can literally listen to that. So I thought that would be a good sponsor for tonight. All the sponsors, those sponsorship money goes to the Sanger Legacy Fund, like always, to honor the great late Bob Sanger and his wife and former teacher, Mrs. Linda Sanger. You can go to sangerstrong.com to give. If you want to set up recurring payments, you can. If you're watching this out in North Carolina or wherever else Randy's lived, and you're like, I want to know more about that, go to sangerstrong.com. If you are looking for a good charitable thing to give to, the Sanger Legacy Fund's doing a lot of great stuff. So you can for sure give to that fund. Quick sports update here. Baseball team is 5-10 overall, 3-9 in the top of Iowa Conference. The softball team is 0-18 and 0-12 in the top of Iowa Conference. I know the teams aren't doing real great right now, but they appreciate your support. If you're in the area and can get out to a game, go to Varsity Bound and check out their schedules. All right, my way back when segment. I always do this to highlight some of my past podcasts, to get them some more views, get those sponsors some more advertising, and it's pretty cool how this one worked out. I was going to do the podcast with Steve Kelly last week. I've had some technical difficulties and we haven't been able to do it yet. So that made this podcast episode 42 instead of 43. So this is how it worked out. 10 episodes ago on episode 32, I talked to Bob and Craig Eisman. 20 episodes ago on episode 22, I did one with Jay and Kevin about the high school football playoffs. 30 episodes ago on episode 12 was Nasty Nate Schreur himself. So this is the 30 episode anniversary of Nate's first podcast. And then 40 episodes ago on episode 2 was Steve Everett II. All right, a couple sponsors here, and then we're going to get rolling and do some introductions. The West Hancock Hall of Fame is finally here. At halftime of the Garner game on August 26th, the first ever members of the West Hancock Hall of Fame will be announced. After the game, there will be a reception at the Britt Country Club to honor the inductees. They asked me to MC that event, so I'm pretty excited to get up there and do that with a lot of great people. So please come to the game and the reception to honor some amazing coaches, athletes, and teams from Britt, Kanawha, and West Hancock. Thanks to Steve Lansing, the committee, and the Sanger Legacy Fund for making this new Hall of Fame happen. Nate, have you heard who the inductees are? Have you seen any of my posts or anything?
I haven't.
It's a pretty cool list. We're doing 3 classes of it.
Okay.
Class of 2020, 21, and 22, since they were originally going to do this a couple years ago, COVID. Randy, COVID was this pandemic that happened a couple years ago. It kind of messed things up around the world, but COVID slowed that down, and then they decided, let's take our time and really do this right. So there's about 15, 16 inductees between teams, coaches, and athletes, and it's a pretty neat list. So yeah, they're on the West Hancock website. They have a little web page they're working on right now to have that information.
Cool.
And then our second sponsor, thank you to the Britt Car, Truck, Bike, and Tractor Night Cruise. They've sponsored over 30 of these episodes. Jared Winger and company run these great events. They'll take place on July 20th, August 17th, and September 21st here in 2022. These are all on Wednesday nights in Britt. Jared also owns Mojo Productions. He's lived there for over 15 years, and he's done a great job of giving back to the community. This 5th annual event has free kids activities. Trophies are presented for all categories, and a $1,000 award is given out at each show. You can't beat free admission and great food and drink from Britt vendors only. Check out the video on BrittCarCruise.com for more information. So here we go. Got some of that out of the way here. So like I said, it's Randy, Nate, and myself. We're going to do a little side podcast here starting in 2023, and I'm potentially looking at a 4th person as well, so we have flexibility. And when it's too late for Randy at night and he has to go to bed early so he can get up and do whatever he does, I don't know. But yeah, Randy West's on the bottom, Nate's on the left there. Like I said, Randy's not a Britt West Hancock guy, but he's honorary. We include him in there. I think you got to vote for the Hall of Fame as well, but a couple years from now. But Randy lived in Indianola for a while, and we were friends from church. We'd walk a lot together and hang out, and my boys like to climb on him and see how strong he was and all that good stuff. So Randy, do you want to kind of tell everybody a little bit about yourself so they get some background on who Randy West is?
Sure. I'm originally from South Carolina. Was in the Air Force for 23 years and served in civil service for another 9 after I retired. Did some traveling around, used to live in Arizona, Texas for a little while, lived in Pittsburgh, Virginia, several places, made my way to Indianola, and ran into Dan somehow and became friends with him and his family, and stayed there for about 1.5 years, working with the USDA for almost a year there, and then decided to move on down closer to home. I'm living in North Carolina now, so enjoying life. And Dan's trying to make me out to be some old man that can't stay awake past 9 o'clock at night. So,
oh, you've messaged me several times lately about how late this is going to be, but it was all Nate was the one who set the time, so blame Nate. So
Sure.
I'm not blaming anybody. In fact, it seems like deflecting blame over onto Nate and I. So I think there's going to be a tag team with us.
Get used to it. So yeah. Nate and I were good friends and still are, obviously. And my wife will be like, "How's Randy doing? Have you checked on him lately?" I'm like, "Oh, we text each other." And she goes, "Besides memes?" And I'm like, "No." Like, is that necessary? I mean, I think we're good. So
at least we know that we're both still alive, right?
Pretty much, yeah. If you don't respond to my memes or send one back within a couple hours, I get kind of worried. So yeah. And Nate, yeah, like I said, people know us a little bit better that might be watching this because there's going to be some Britt West Hancock connections. But the cool part is Randy's in North Carolina and he's been in 18 different states or whatever that number was. So there's gonna be people that know him that watching this. So Nate, tell them a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well,
he's not Catherine, by the way, even though it says
that.
that
on the, yeah, I'm using her school computer. So great to meet you, Randy, as of 12 minutes ago, and Dan the man, good to see you again and excited to be here. Graduated from West Hancock in 1992, went to Kanawha the first year and then we joined. So then I went to Dordt College, met my wife, and been in Sanborn, Iowa, northwest corner of Iowa, ever since we got married in 2000. So just living the dream in northwest Iowa, and have 3 kids. parenting is humbling but great. So you said your wife asked you about Randy, about hey, what's he up to? And you said, well, we share memes. That reminds me of my great buddy Mike in Columbus, Ohio. I'll be on the phone with him for like 30 minutes, and my wife's like, so how is this kid's doing? I don't know. What's life going? I don't know. We just shared a lot of jokes, laughed a lot, but I don't know. Was I supposed to get to that? So anyway, same
Yep.
type of, yeah.
Well, let me just add one thing here, that Dan does call me every once in a while, and typically it's on one of his long drives in between these side jobs that he's got. Now, Dan's famous way of closing out those phone calls is, and this is him saying this, "I'm glad you got to talk to me."
Mm-hmm. Yep, pleasure was all yours.
Yeah.
Yep. Thanks for killing some time for me in the car. It's pretty much what I'm trying to say without saying. So,
So thank you very much for that. Yeah.
Yep. My boss lady had me go to Cedar Rapids today to clean one building. 2.5-hour drive, hour and a half clean, 2.5 hours home. Yeah, and it was fun. So.
And you didn't call?
No, I talked to my mom for a little bit. So it's either my mom or Randy, and my mom won today. So she had to work her little side job tonight. So I better call her, and I'm going to talk to Randy tonight. So I didn't worry about that. But
yeah.
And then I'm Dan Kral, living in Indianola, Iowa. Sorry for the horrendous view behind me. I bought a new computer. It's not real compatible with Zoom in the background. So I bought a green screen, which is just a fancy word for a cloth. And I hung it up in my basement back here where I do the podcast. And I hung it up wrong because it didn't cover the whole screen. And then even though when I do a background, it's ridiculous. So I'm working on downgrading my computer from Windows 11 to a Windows 10 and hoping that it'll get me back to normal and I can use a regular background for my podcast sponsors and stuff. But it's pretty horrible looking. But I'm also competing with a brick wall and a corner of a wooden framed picture. So I don't think people are going to mind a whole lot there. So, but anyway, live in Indianola for the last 10 years. I'm a West Hancock grad. I'm wearing my state championship t-shirt tonight, 2021. Gonna get a back-to-back state championship shirt hopefully here in a few months. Yeah, cool shirt, Randy. And my wife Julie and I are both teachers at I-35. I teach 4th grade, I think, and she teaches 1st grade. 2 boys, Caden and Quentin, are gonna be in 2nd grade this year. And yeah, born and raised in Britt. Parents moved to Buffalo Center, Iowa, and just living the dream down here. So if you're not familiar with us, that's kind of who we are, and you'll find out here pretty quick how weird and ridiculous we are. So here we go. Typically when I do a podcast with a Britt West Hancock person, I send them some detailed notes, usually like 7 to 10 pages long of kind of what we're going to talk about. I told these guys tonight, you're going to get nothing and we're just going to roll with it. So again, Nate Schreur in the top corner there. Britt West Hancock guy, knows everybody, everyone knows him. One thing I love about Nate is he posts about 5 things a day with thumbs up pictures with people on their birthdays. That's Nasty Nate's thing. And Randy, I couldn't really find anybody else and we needed a 3rd guy, so I was like, well, I don't think Randy's doing much of anything. So
wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
So in this podcast, we're just going to pick a topic and talk about it, do a little Wikipedia research. And like I said, you're going to get smarter and dumber at the same time. You're not going to have to think much, if at all, except you're like, I don't think that's right. And then you'll Google it because we're, like I said, going to do minimal research on the accuracy of most of the things we're going to talk about. But tonight, the topic I picked that they don't know about, our topic is funny sounding words. Literally, that's what we're going to talk about, words that sound funny. I'm going to give you guys a word, and you're going to try to tell me without looking it up what that word means, how to use it in a sentence, and it'll probably turn into some dumb conversation, and we'll just talk for a while and entertain you and give you something to listen to while you're mowing or working out or going for a walk. So you guys ready?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Nate's probably just going to laugh. Randy's going to shake his head at me, and then I'll have to fill in all the blanks here, but we'll see how it goes.
True.
Ready for word number one? I have like 18 of these things.
Oh boy, let's do it.
Bumfuzzle.
I'm
What's bumfuzzle mean?
I'm bumfuzzled that I'm here tonight.
Do you know what it means then?
It sounds like I'm confuzzled. I'm confused. I'm bummed. I'm bummed so much, and I'm confused, and I don't know who I am or where I am. I don't know if I'm in North Carolina or Sanborn or Britt, West Hancock, or I'm just bumfuzzled. That's what it sounds like to me.
It's
I have no
exactly what
idea.
it means. Perplexed or confused. Yep.
Yes. Oh, I got
And
one.
Randy's still trying to
Wow.
process.
No, I was just trying to think of something to say. I had something that I was going to use, but I won't use it.
Use it.
Sorry. Go ahead. Use it.
Bum puzzle. It's the belongings of a bum. Hey, officer, that guy stole my bum puzzle. No, not so much.
I
No.
like that one better.
Now I'm bumfuzzled what we're talking about here.
So if you're a hobo days, you're a bum. And if you, okay, bum
Yeah.
puzzle. It's good.
Bum puzzle. That's my bum puzzle.
I think Randy needs to come to Hobo Days one of these years.
Yes.
Have I talked to you about Hobo Days much, Randy?
No, very little next to things about yourself, which you talk about a lot.
Yeah. Well, what else is there to talk about? No, Britt, Iowa has a hobo jungle, and we have a restaurant called the Hobo House, which is one of our sponsors tonight. And there's a hobo museum, and every year people come to Britt, like thousands and thousands of them, and we celebrate Hobo Days, the National Hobo Convention for, I don't know, Nate, 120 some years. You're a Kanawha guy, but still you're close enough. But yeah, literally hobos, bums, whatever else they call them, transients, they come to Britt and hang out in the hobo jungle for like a week, and we crown a king and a queen. The crowns, what are they? They're made out of like Folgers coffee cups. They cut them into crowns. And one year, Iowa Blackie, do you remember him, Nate?
I remember the name, yeah.
He was running for king because apparently there's a prestige and maybe financial, things that come from it. But he made stamps that said Iowa Blackie for Hobo King, and he stamped them all over town, like on light posts and like buildings and stuff. I think he had to spend some time after Hobo Days scraping all that off, wiping it all off. But yeah,
Wow.
you definitely need to come to Hobo Days. Have some mulligan stew.
Right. My grandpa Schreur was an actual hobo, so he hopped trains and went out to look for work in Montana. So I just thought that was really cool. And I've always wanted to just jump on one and go, but I haven't done it yet. So maybe the three of us can do that, and maybe we can go to North Carolina or something. That'd be good.
Oh yeah, you should do that. Come down to North Carolina, then we'll head back up to Iowa.
I like it.
Yep. Find the fat motorcycle guys.
I found them.
Yeah, in the cemetery.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't do much riding nowadays, I'm guessing. Yeah. See, like I said, we just bumfuzzled, turned into Hobo Days and fat people on motorcycles. So here we go. I love it.
You've mentioned Hobo Days to me before. So yeah, I was somewhat aware of them.
Oh man, it's a good time. I play in the Hobo Golf Championship every year.
That's
where I got my hole in one. It's a good time.
Wow.
Yeah, we always say there was a party and a golf game broke out. Yeah, my favorite line from last year, John Charbonneau. He's going to be on the podcast later this year. He's a couple years older than me, so we're in between 35 and 40, and we're like, yeah, 10, 12 years ago, I would take off Wednesday and Thursday and Friday of work to come up to Hobo Days, and you'd have a good time. And he goes, now that I'm almost 40, he goes, I have to take Monday and Tuesday of the following week off just to recover from it. So
week-long activity.
Yeah, I get my day and a half up there, and I'm like, I'm done, and I don't even.
I got a hole in one in mini golf one time. How about you, Randy?
Yeah, I've gotten a hole in one in mini golf many times.
Nice. All right.
Yeah. Proud. You ready for word number 2?
Oh.
Yeah.
Fartlick.
Oh, I actually know this.
Yeah.
I really do, but I can let Randy go first. And
please.
Wow, you said to keep it clean. I don't even know where to start with this one.
Well, it's nothing dirty, so get your mind out of the gutter.
I believe it's not, but I mean, come on, fartlick. Is it like a salt lick? Is it like something that a horse has?
Almost.
It's a good
Nate, what do you
guess.
think?
So I actually know this because my wife's a big track runner and cross country and all that. So that's one of their warm-ups they'll do. They'll have a line, the fartlicks, and then they have basically when the back person goes to the front and they're the leader, and they kind of do a line, and they follow the leader type with running.
Yep, it's when a runner changes between jogging and sprinting. It's called a fartlick.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So yeah, the person in the back would sprint to the front, go from jogging to sprinting, and just keep on going.
I mean, it really makes you wonder who came up with that name and why. I mean,
right.
It's America. Why not?
America.
Yeah. Nate, by the way, Randy, Nate was a world-class track runner in high school, part of a state championship team in '92.
Yep. I held the blocks for Nate Smith, who was no, our team was a state champion team. I got a few ribbons in there too, so it was fun.
Yep. That was one thing we talked about a lot with his episode 12, 30 episodes ago, is running, being on the track team with Coach Sanger. So any good track stories, Randy, from back in your day?
No, I ran track for in junior high school, but when I hurt my back playing football in junior high school, and I decided to stick with band, and then I eventually got into the public address announcer for the football team. So my closest state championship came in 1985 when I was the public address announcer for my high school's football team. So I participated that way. I didn't. I wasn't a fartlick, and I wasn't anything else.
That was a nice way to say it. You were just slow.
Wow.
Oh
yeah, no, not so much. No, not so much. I was a long distance and speed runner, Dan. You know, but yeah, carry on.
Coach would have put me in fourth quarter. We would have been state champions, right? Napoleon Dynamite.
You know, I understand. I looked you up, and I understand that they created a new position for you called way back. You know, when you asked the coach where you go, he said way back, just way back.
I have proof that
is
goes completely against that. I actually made the book for that.
Yeah. I love it.
No, my only track meet experience, my sophomore year, 3 other guys that were all weight boys. I don't know if Nate, when you were in school, you guys had weight boys, just guys that came to practice, ran, and then went and lifted. And it was like Coach Sanger pretty much just said, you're on the track team, even if you don't run in track meets, just to stay in shape for football. At the Forest City track meet one year, Coach Sanger put together we call it the 4x-fat. He started the race with, we decided that Tyler Swenson would start the race. Tyler was about 6'6", 270 pounds, good lineman, just big. So we're like, oh, that'll be fun watching him come out of the blocks. He runs, and we, for whatever reason, like 2 or 3 other teams that night didn't run a 4x-fat. They ran like their JV 4x1, and there were some bigger schools. So we're running against like actual sprinters. So Tyler, big 6'6" kid, hands it off to Andrew Fetters, who was like an all-district center. Nothing quick, obviously, because we're linemen. Hands it off to Darren Kruger, who was an all-state lineman. And then by the time Darren got it to me for the final leg, the other 3 teams had already finished the race, because like I said, they were like almost varsity type sprinters. And have you ever seen at a track meet when you get those sympathy claps in the home stretch?
Oh yeah.
I got the sympathy claps. So that was my first and last high school track competition. Otherwise, I just stuck with the weight boy stuff. We'd do the 600s with Coach Sanger in practice and go until someone puked, and it would be me or a couple other guys that would volunteer to stick our fingers down our throats and take care of it. Get practice over.
They'd be go, there's a runner on the track. Get off. There's still a runner on the track. One team is coming.
They were probably starting the 800 or something or whatever it was. And
you can't start the next event.
Yeah. I got out of there in a hurry, of course. So
right.
Yeah, they barely saw me.
Or did the next race pass you up too, Dan, before that was over?
Oh no.
No.
Oh no.
No, I probably ran a solid 9.5 second split or something like that. But it was a bad handoff, I think. So
Goes to the
Well,
man.
I heard that you were actually pretty fast in the 40. I heard you ran it in about 4.5 days,
40 mile.
Ouch.
40 yards.
I get tired driving my car 40 miles anymore. My boys want me to run with them, and I'm like, no.
Nope.
Our deductible's been met for the year, but you don't need me going to the hospital right now. So,
No.
no. How about the word earth?
Earth?
Earth. ERF. Earth.
Earth?
Earth.
ERF. Earth. 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 What do you think, Randy?
Well,
Earth.
Earth.
When you go on a blind date and you see the person for the first time, you're like, earth.
That was pretty good, Dan.
I like that one. I'll go with it.
It's a plot of land, guys. A plot of land.
Oh, not where I was going. I was thinking like a pocket of air or something like that.
It's actually not that far off.
It's
Earth.
a plot of land. Earth.
A plot of land is earth and earth.
Instead of calling it part of the earth, they called it earth.
Yeah. Someone with a speech impediment probably got put in charge that day. Kind of like people who name crayons. They're like, yep, going with earth.
Earth.
Yep. That's a good topic for another podcast that we can do is naming crayons. I think that would be well worth our time and everyone else's listening.
That is a good one. Now we would have to prep for that one. You can't just throw that one on us.
Oh, there'll be some prep. This one I just thought we'll just go into it blind and see what happens.
All right. So we've got fartlick and bumfuzzle and earth.
Earth.
Our
Yep.
own little plot of land, our own little earth. Okay.
You will have to put this into a paragraph at the end. I forgot to tell you that. So
Okay. I got to go back to Randy was talking about 1985 PSA guy. 1985. That's when the Royals won the World Series.
Oh, yeah, you're right about that. Yeah.
Then they won again in 2015. So there you go. See, I'm doing random side notes.
yep. And I was -1 years old when Randy won his first championship. So
You were, oh man. Oh
Yeah.
man. But I knew fartlick, going back to fartlick, sorry. I knew that because of I'm around running all the time. My wife has done like 4 marathons. My buddies have done marathons and all these things. So that's been fun to be part of. And I'm a track coach now, so take some inspiration from the legendary Coach Sanger. So that's pretty fun. But
I just can't
Not a
believe
great-
you use the words marathon and fun in the same sentence. That's kind of disturbing.
well, I'm
to
not
me.
running it, so it's fun
Yeah.
for me. I could do the point too, and I'd let
Yeah. Hand off.
You and
She runs
Randy can do
26
13
miles,
repeats.
hands the baton off to Nate.
right. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
That's in my little earth.
Yeah. Dave Ramsey, the financial guy I listen to, he always tells the joke, I ran 2 marathons in one day, my first and my last. That's how he put it.
That's good.
Like, that's genius. I wouldn't even have done that, but I like how he thinks.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, it was genius. So wouldn't quite expect you to come up with that one, Dan.
All right, moving on here. No, we're number 4.
Man, he's hard on you.
Oh, he gives as good as he takes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
he deserves it.
Yeah.
Sozzled.
Sozzled? Oh, boy.
Sozzled. SOZZLED. Sozzled.
It sounds like you're kind of, oh man, I just got done with a hard day and had a few too many bush lights and I feel sozzled, but I have no idea.
When someone is drunk, you got it.
It is?
What? Oh,
Yep.
Oh,
right.
wow.
all right.
Randy
Oh.
noticed how he used Bush Light because we're true
Just-
Iowans.
Yep.
On the rare chance I do have a drink, it's a Bush Light. And Randy would always be like, what? Why?
Yeah,
Bush
exactly.
Light? Really? Of all the things you can drink? And I was like, look around you.
I know. I swear, I'd go over to your house and never failed. You want a Bush Light? No, not so much.
It's because I'd get an 18 pack and drink 6 of them in a year and be like, oh boy, I better get rid of these things. I don't. When you have little kids, it's almost too much work.
Yeah.
It's sozzled.
And then you're driving 5 hours for a 1-hour job. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
You
can
don't-
afford a whole lot of Bush Lights with what they're paying me to drive there, but gotta.
Oh.
Money disappears, that's for sure. Yeah, we just speaking of money disappearing, we bought some bar stools for our island because our other ones broke after about 4 or 5 years, and we bought 4 of them from a store up in West Des Moines, and I put one together, which is surprising to most people if they think that I actually assembled something. And I had the boys taking the other 3 out of the box to help save me time to put the other ones together. I put the whole first one together and I set it up to the island. There was about this much room for our legs. And I'm like, Julie, come here. She's like, yeah,
Wait.
those are too tall.
Were you sozzled when you did this?
I wanted to be afterwards. I was pretty frustrated.
So apparently the earth wasn't working with you on that one.
No.
He was
And
bummed.
I took that one apart, put it back in the box, put the other ones back in the box, put it back in the van. And then when I went to Cedar Rapids this morning to clean out, when I was on my way back, I stopped, and then we got new ones at another store, and they were cheaper, and some other chairs were cheaper too. So we actually saved some money, but it was a good time. And the young kid at the at-home store, I needed cash back because I paid cash for it, and it was a struggle to count money back to me. It was kind of terrifying. So yeah. So Randy, I'm gonna quiz you. What 4 words have we done so far?
Bumfuzzle, earth, fartlick, and it's escaping me.
You're really sozzled right now.
Yeah.
Well, this next one will be easy to remember because at your age, this is probably what you call most people you interact with. Whippersnapper.
Whippersnapper. So does that mean somebody of an elderly state?
No, it's what old people call younger people.
Thought that maybe there was some unique meaning that you had found. So yeah, a whippersnapper. So I haven't gotten to calling anybody whippersnapper, and I don't see it in my future. And yeah, I can't wait till you get to be 55. I just can't wait.
Me too. I'll be retired hopefully by then.
You young, you little whippersnapper.
Julie's going to make you get another job. She won't be able to put up with you in retirement.
I already have another job.
Yeah, no, she won't be able to put up with that. She'll be sending you to places like Northwest Iowa to clean some buildings. So
Nate and I can hang out. That'll be fine with me.
Good.
Yeah, we'll have a good time.
I'd
actually,
David?
What's that?
How old are you?
Me, I'll be 36 this fall.
So he is a young whippersnapper, isn't he, Randy?
He's a smart aleck whippersnapper.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
You have Velcro shoes by now, don't you, though, Randy?
No, I don't, and I don't wear New Balance either.
You should. That would be awesome. Did I ever tell you the story about my dad in the airport? So Nate, you haven't heard this one, probably. You're supposed to say no because it's good for the podcast. That otherwise, then you feel like you're turning me down. But I'm gonna tell Nate, so you don't need to listen. When we were going to my sister's wedding or coming back from it in San Antonio, we're in the airport. So my boys are 4 years old, probably 4.5. And my dad's the jean short dad with the New Balance shoes and the polo dad, Yep. And I take Quentin into the bathroom, and there's like 40 stalls and 50 urinals in this huge bathroom. And we're walking down. We get almost to the end of the stalls, and everyone's in there doing their thing. And Quentin looks at one and points. He goes, "There's Grandpa," because there's these big old honking white New Balance shoes, like skis. And I'm like, "Quentin, there's 100 people in here. Let's keep moving." And he goes, "Look, it's Grandpa." And my dad came out of that exact same stall that Quentin was pointing at. He's like, "Told you it was Grandpa." And I'm like,
That's great. Was there a little bit of green on it too for mowing? That'd be great.
Oh no, you rotate your shoes. You go from brand new wear to church New Balances, and then you downgrade it to like your walking shoes, and then those walking shoes turn into your mowing shoes, and then you don't throw out the mowing shoes. Eventually, you keep them on a shelf in your garage for your kids to take care of someday, I think is how it all works. So
might need those later.
Yep. They're a shrine to the dad. You can't get rid of them.
Dan's going to be the guy walking on the beach with sandals and black socks on.
Birkenstocks.
And a tank top and a great farmer stand.
Oh yeah. We were at the pool today and I did take my shirt off and my first thought was, oh, I hope this doesn't ruin my farmer's tan.
You don't want to ruin that.
Swimming pools, that's a good potential episode to talk about.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Talk about all the germs. How about accubation? ACCUBATION. Accubation.
Is it something to do with like maybe an incubator, maybe something? No, not even close, huh?
No.
Okay.
All right.
Acupuncture and probation. So it's you're on probation from doing acupuncture.
Close.
Yeah.
It's when someone is in the act of eating or drinking while lying down. So it wasn't
Wow.
close, but still.
No, that wasn't. Come again. Say that again.
When someone is in the act of eating or drinking while they're lying down.
Oh,
Have either of you guys ever done that?
accubation while you're lying down.
It's a very difficult process. So, I mean, especially drinking. I can't imagine laying down and trying to drink something.
Yep.
Without it spilling.
My next door neighbor growing up, him and I were best friends. His dad, we'd be watching like NBA basketball playoff games. I'm a Utah Jazz fan, so I'd go over and we'd watch the Jazz play the Kings or the Lakers or whatever. And Tom would make a couple cheeseburgers for himself, and he would lay on the couch and put his plate on his chest with his cheeseburgers. He'd use his left hand to hold the burger and his right hand to squirt the ketchup on. And it would be a big squirt of ketchup for every bite. So he'd be laying there watching the game and it would be squirt, bite, and he would plow 2 hamburgers while laying down. So Tom was a accubator, is what you would call him.
Wow.
Oh.
That got me thinking. I don't know any weird ways I've ever eaten before. When I had my colonoscopy a couple years ago, a friend from church took me there and back so Julie didn't have to take off work and deal with, taking care of the boys. I ate about $18 worth of Chick-fil-A with my eyes closed in a car. So that would be my weirdest eating experience. But
you told me about that one too.
Yeah, she got me in the car and she goes, "Are you hungry?" And I said, "Chick-fil-A now." And I just handed her a 20 and she goes, "What do you want?" And I said, "Chick-fil-A." And she just ordered me like, I think it was like $18 worth of food or something like that. And she's like, "I could barely keep my eye on the road. I was just watching you eat the whole time with your eyes closed. It was impressive."
8-time accubation.
Yeah, it was. I wonder if you can accubate while you're sitting up, but it probably wouldn't be that word then because you're not lying down. But anyway, again, intelligence is coming through here.
Okay, well, let me just throw in a word myself so that see if either one of you guys know this one.
All right.
Mastication.
Oh,
is that when a cow chews on grass or something?
that's cool. Yeah, I think, or is it like the Coney Island, what's that guy that eats all the hot dogs and he masticates? And
mastication is the process of chewing. So Dan, you were close with it.
Right.
It's for anybody.
It's not just cows.
Not just cows.
Good
job. Do either of you do this when you're on road trips? And it's when you're with other people because it's just to be annoying. But we just went to Montana and back and then Colorado and back a few weeks ago. Every time I would see cows, I would alert everyone in the car that there's cows. Or is that just a me thing?
That's got to be a Dan thing.
Okay. Because my buddies in college, we would do that. But every once in a while, we would stop when we're doing like film exchanges for football. And we'd stop and roll down the window. And one of my buddies would yell at the cows. And if they turned their heads and looked at you, you got a point or something. I don't know. But yeah, we just drove 2,500 miles like a week ago, Montana and back, and we went to the Mount Rushmore and all that stuff. And I said cows every time we saw cows, and I kept getting these looks from Julie, and I was like, all right, I better stop that. So
my buddy just gave me a list of how dad are you, and that was on there. Like if you randomly say, look, cows, or look, horses. So, and another one was if you're you see a slowed down traffic coming the other way, you're like, glad we're not going that way.
There we go. There's another episode right there. Things dads say.
Yep.
Magic tricks and everything else. So,
or the one every dad does. a stud finder. Oh, found it.
That
Oh,
was
that's-
last week. We were
that's
hanging up
the-
curtains in the boys' room, and Julie bought a stud finder, and I kept doing beep 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 beep. Found it. Said, you don't even need one of those. I'm right here. Yeah. And another
Well,
thing I do in the
It
car.
makes you really think why she did go buy one.
That's what I said. That was a waste of money.
Oh.
I'm right here.
I don't think it was a waste of money.
It was pretty cheap though. It didn't work real well. It beeped at me, but
talks
not
about
at the
you.
wall.
You talking about you or the device she bought? It was pretty cheap.
She didn't buy me. She signed that dotted line 10 years ago. She knew what she was getting into.
Better or worse.
Yeah. I also on car trips, whenever there's like hay bales out on the road or out on the field, I always yell, "Hey!" And at least one person like, "What?" And I'm like, there's hay.
Dan, sadly, to admit it, I do that too. Sorry, Randy, you're with a bunch of, I don't know.
What that tells me right there, I'm never getting in a car or on a train with you guys.
Oh, come on.
Rides. People ride trains. Well, hobos, I guess. Nate's grandpa did. So.
Yep.
All right, we need to take a brain break here, so I'm going to do our last two sponsors. We'll do a few more and we'll call it good because, like I said, Randy has a big day tomorrow of doing his stuff. So here we go. The World with Nate podcast is my next sponsor tonight. Nate Allison is the brother of a friend of ours here in Indianola. He has his own podcast called The World with Nate. He hits on a lot of great topics, and his goal is just to help and inspire people, which is almost the exact opposite of what we're doing here. Nate is an Iowan who loves helping people reach their dreams and bring awareness to certain topics. Please check out his podcast. Again, it's called The World with Nate. That's Nate Allison. You can find it on Apple, Spotify, anywhere else that you get your podcasts. I use Podbean personally. Follow him on social media. He's a super awesome dude. That's The World with Nate podcast. And then Mary Jo's Hobo House and Catering in Britt, what we already mentioned tonight. They've been a huge Wes Hancock supporter for 28 years now. And unfortunately, this is going to be their last year. Linda and Mary Jo are retiring. I don't know if you've heard that, Nate.
Oh.
But this will be their last couple months of having the restaurant. I don't know if they've sold it or to who, but I do know that they are, it's well deserved that they get to retire. They've a lot of early mornings over the last 30 years of serving breakfast and lunch. Travel Iowa voted the Hobo House as having one of the 10 best burgers in all of Iowa. Visit the Hobo House for lunch and breakfast every day. They're located at 72 Main Avenue South. Call them at 843-3840. Make sure you get there while you can, because like I said, I think in August or early September is their last days. They also cater. Let's just make sure we support them in their last couple months. And then if they've sold it, whoever the new owners are, make sure we support them as well. All right, let's do a couple more here. I'll pick some of my favorites here. Widdershins, 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 Widdershins.
Oh, she ran into the hitch pin on the truck was sticking out, and she wasn't looking, and she hit it with her shins.
Okay, Jeff Foxworthy.
Wow.
Doing your best redneck words.
And
It's like mayonnaise. Mayonnaise, a lot of people here tonight.
Nate, you beat me to the punch. That was something similar that I was going to come up with. So
sorry, I got an hour. I got an hour earlier, so I'm still somewhat away.
Have you guys ever heard those Foxworthy words, the redneck words?
Yeah.
Like initiate. My sister ate a hamburger. Initiate a cheeseburger. Yeah.
Oh, I love those. Yep.
So Widdershins, I'm thinking is some sort of wooden pegs or something.
Ooh.
Moving in the wrong direction.
That's what I said.
You're Widdershinning.
Yeah,
That's exactly what Randy said.
exactly what I said.
My problem with all this is, why do we have to have words like this to describe something that's so simple? Like, oh, he was going in the wrong direction. People are like, we should make up a word for this. It's like, why is that necessary?
That's exactly why.
I think it's the dictionary people.
Yep, and then they're going to think the same thing. Why do people do podcasts? Well, because they have too much time on their hands.
Yeah. And I'm hoping someday we'll make dozens of dollars each on this. So that's kind of the goal too. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
3 ways. Nice.
Yeah.
we're both teachers, Randy. So we're hoping to be thousandaires someday is the goal. And
Good luck to
Thank you.
luck to you.
yeah, we all can't retire at 39 or whatever it was you did, and move on with doing whatever we want all day.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
offense, all due respect.
Of course, yeah. All the due respect that you allow.
Yep. I had a buddy the other day said, well, how much respect is due? Like, is there a specific amount when you say that? And I was like, it's probably case by case situation. It would be my guess.
Oh man, feels like we're going Witter shins in the wrong direction. Are you snozzled or what is it? Slozzled?
Sozzled.
Slozzled?
We're
Sorry,
definitely not fart licking tonight, though. I'm going to bed here in a little bit.
I got my slurs worded or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it depends where you are on the earth.
Ooh, that's right.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll stop all we're behind here.
Slumgullion. Slumgullion. SLUM. Slum. Gullion. GULLION. Slumgullion.
Are they the next door neighbors to the Mongolians?
They have a good grill.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're a
Mongolian.
slum lord. You're in the slums and you do it like Gillian. I don't know.
Think hobo days,
Gillian
Nate,
slum.
and think. I'll give you a hint, Nate. Think
Okay.
food. Think hobo days.
Oh, Hungarian goulash. Or
I
what is it
didn't say
called?
Kanawha, Lutheran, whatever.
Why am I mind blanking? Help me out.
Mulligan
it's-
stew.
Mulligan stew. Yes, mulligan stew. Good grief.
So what do they put in there besides everything? What's the
Everything.
main ingredient?
Some kind of meat.
Yeah.
Potatoes.
Slumgullion is cheap meat for stew. Again, why can't they just say this is really cheap meat and it's for stew?
Right.
Who's sitting there going, I think Slumgullion sounds really good for this
Oh.
$6 Walmart meat or whatever. But yeah, I should have actually looked up the meaning of
Don't knock $6 Walmart meat.
that's the cheapest there is right now. Yeah.
Aldi's has got some pretty cheap meat too, by the way.
Not anymore. Nothing's cheap.
The one, well, yeah, I mean, considering.
Yeah. Do you ever buy any Slumgullion for any purposes?
I would make like these steak fajitas. I just buy some of this cheap thin meat to cook and put in the fajitas. That's about well, I mean, I don't buy really expensive meat anyway, but I just usually go Slumgullion.
You don't post that on Facebook ever though. You've posted several food items lately.
Yeah, but I don't post that I buy cheap meat to put in there.
No, why would you-
Guess what, guys? It's Cheap Meat Tuesday.
Exactly. That's what's coming up. I'm going to start calling my dishes made with the finest Slumgullion.
Yeah. Well, at your age, it's probably not cheap meat. It's probably just like double coupon Wednesday or something like that. Isn't that kind of how you make ends meet at your generation?
Wow, Dan. Wow.
Ouch. They hear about that cheap meat, they'll be going Witter shins.
Yeah, and they'll think it's the right direction. So I don't know how to even use that word.
Oh boy.
Well, as long as they're not picking out the fartlek meat.
Yeah. If I go from jogging to sprinting, there's gonna be some Slumgullion involved, I think.
That's because you've eaten some of the that's because you've eaten some of my steak fajitas with the Slumgullion meat in it.
Yeah. It's like Taco Bell. You don't want to
Oh boy.
get too far away from a facility. That's what they say about Taco Bell. You don't own it, you rent it just for a little while.
Oh,
Randy, you were here when COVID hit and everything kind of shut down, went crazy, and when restaurants opened up again, and they did the takeouts. Wynn's Diner Pizza and Diner place here in town on the square. Every to-go order you got that was over $15 or $20, they gave you a free roll of toilet paper.
I remember that.
And
Really?
I was like, why is Taco Bell not getting in on this? Like, they could make toilet paper with their logo on each square, and that would be genius. It's like, gonna use it before you get home.
It would have been too easy for them. It just would have been way too easy.
Wait, is
Yeah,
Taco Bell your sponsor? No.
Someday. It will be someday. All right, we're gonna do 2 more words.
Okay.
Hoe cake? Hoe cake.
HOECAKE. Hoe cake.
Hoe cake.
Randy should get this.
Really?
Geography based, yeah.
Okay.
The middle of nowhere?
No, it's probably something your mom made back when you were a kid.
It's a cake you eat while you're hoeing. You're walking beans, and you take a break, and you just got the last bunch of cockleburs out, and you take a break for hoe cake. And then she says, "Did you eat the whole cake? The whole thing?"
You ever read a dictionary before?
A hoe cake. Something in geography wise, is it a southern type of cake?
It's a southern styled cornbread.
Ooh.
Interesting.
So your mom probably made some cornbread down in South Carolina, and
a lot of it.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
So you probably had some hoe cake.
I did. I had plenty of hoe cake.
Yeah. I kept thinking there was gonna be that's just something Michael Scott would attach himself to from The Office,
right?
Eat the whole cake.
Yeah.
Or Jeff Foxworthy up there in the top left corner and using his genius. How about we'll do one more word here. Gardyloo. 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 Gardyloo.
Is that some sort of bathroom, like a portable bathroom in Britain?
You're thinking loo?
Yeah.
And
Nope.
and someone needs to guard it. That makes perfect sense.
After you've had some Taco Bell, someone
Guardy-
definitely needs to guard that before,
Guardy
during,
the
and
loo.
after.
Is that what a British soldier does, Gardyloo?
Didn't think this was going to turn into redneck dictionary time, but it works. Gardyloo is a warning cry.
Oh,
Like, the British are coming, I guess, was a Gardyloo, if we're going to stick with England-based talk here.
wow.
You mean you're talking about Ichabod Crane?
About what?
About Ichabod Crane, the headless
No.
horseman,
Yeah.
when he rode around the town yelling the British are coming? No?
How could he do that without a head?
Something
Well,
like
he was holding it in his arm.
Gardyloo.
That was like, we got to give Old Icky a job here. He's pretty useless. Let's just throw him out there and pretend like he's going to warn people about something.
Like the hoe cake. Look out for the hoe cake. You might hit it with-
Steve had Taco Bell. Look out for the outhouse over there. Don't go in there.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, that was good. I think we'll end on that one. I like that. So yeah. Anywho, it is 9:01 here in Iowa, so that's I think 10:01 in Randy's
Neck of
place.
the wood.
So we got to get his milk warmed up and his
On my part-
melatonin and
My part of the earth.
Yeah. your plot of land down there. So yeah, like I said, a little spin-off, a little twist from what I normally do on the podcast. This was kind of our test episode to see how things would go, and I'd say you're smarter and dumber at the same time if you've watched this. And the only thinking you did was, I think these guys need help, and hopefully it's just something to enjoy listening to, and it's something you want to listen to in a couple months here as we get the next little project of ours going. Again, I want to thank my sponsors, the Britt Car, Truck, Bike, and Tractor Night Cruise with Jared Winger, the World with Nate podcast, Mary Jo's Hobo House, and the Wes Hancock Hall of Fame. My next podcast in the Britt Wes Hancock podcast, I need to make one up with Steve Kelly. That was supposed to be episode 42, will hopefully be 43. And then I'll be talking to Iowa Hawkeye football player Josef Smith, Mr. Dave Padderud, who Nate remembers from school.
Yeah.
I just had a good talk with him via email the other day.
Cool.
I just lined up a new podcast that I'm going to stick into my schedule with Lois Stuflick. Lois was named to the Wes Hancock Hall of Fame in 1966 for Kanawha High School girls basketball. She scored 72 points in a game, and she will let me know that her team lost that game by 3 points.
Oh, wow.
So I found her on Facebook. Someone directed me to her, and since she's getting into the Hall of Fame, I wanted to talk to her before the induction ceremony.
Cool.
After that, I'm doing another part 2 with Kevin Sanger. We're going to talk about some Wes Hancock football history. And then I'm going to do a watch along with the 2007 football team. We're going to watch one of their playoff games on the podcast and talk about it. And then Travis Hagen will be get me to almost September, I think it is. So
That'll be good.
Fellas, what's going on the rest of this week in your lives?
Well, I'm going to definitely leave here more sozzled than I was when I came in.
Didn't even have to drink anything.
Didn't even have to drink anything.
Tell everybody about your latest thing that you just did. You got ordained.
I just got ordained as an online. I got ordained as a minister. So I'm going to be performing my first wedding ceremony this Saturday. I was supposed to be a best man at the wedding, and then the couple asked me if I would instead conduct the ceremony. So yeah, very, very proud of that, and looking forward to it. So that's going to be awesome.
Is that an upgrade or a downgrade from what you were going to be?
It's a lateral move. You know, it's just a shift of the earth.
Yeah. The guy's like, oh, my real good friend didn't think he could be in the wedding. Now he can. So we got to find somewhere else for Randy to go. What can we do? Let's give him a certificate. That'll make him happy. He'll be fine with it.
Get a participation trophy.
What else can you do with that thing besides weddings?
Well, I guess I can do different ceremonies like, maybe baptisms or something like that for,
Cool.
or whatever. So I haven't done much research on it. I just did it because they asked me to. So, but I'll look into it and maybe get a side gig out of it.
Can you do funerals? Is that part of it?
Yeah, you can do any type of ceremony that a minister would normally conduct.
Is that Christian religion only, or can you do like bar mitzvahs and circumcisions and stuff?
No. No, for mine, it's strictly Christian based. I don't know. Yeah. Not going to be doing any bris or anything like that.
Yeah, you never know. You can add an endorsement to it later, probably. So.
Yeah, no. Yeah. But no, that's what I'll be doing to keep myself busy. And I'm working on another big project. I don't know if I told you about it, Dan, but can't really talk about it here. But it's a huge project that I'm working on. I've been working on that for over a month now. A couple months, as a matter of fact.
Yep. He's vying to be the next Queen of England, is what I've ventured out of his talk. So, yeah, get enough votes, be good to go.
Okay, so Nate, on to Nate. Let's go ahead.
Nate, what's the rest of your week look like?
Well, Dan the man, the best part of this podcast is you said you don't have to be prepared at all. And I was like, yes, that's like how I live my life. That's how I was in college. Everybody said, we'd see you with the backpack on, but you'd go from one pod to the other just talking to people. And 2 hours later, you'd leave and you hadn't studied the entire time. Do you ever prepare for anything? Well, not really, but it's fun to meet people. So anyway, that's how I kind of live my life. And Randy and Dan, I challenge you guys now. We need to use every single word in random conversations throughout the week. I think we need to.
Let's do that. Let's do.
Even though the people listening to us probably have to be sozzled, I think we are going to get smarter through this. I really do.
Or they will be by the time it's over. They're like, all right, this thing's an hour and 10 minutes long. I have some time here. And you have to work it all the rest of the week, Nate? You're part-time?
Yep, I'll be working at a place with people with mental and physical disabilities, and it's a really neat place to work. So
Nice.
looking forward to that.
Yep, I have not a whole lot. Just have some buildings to clean this weekend and hang out with the boys and Julie, and really not much going on. Like I said, we've been gone a lot this summer already, so we want to stick around for a little while at home and get some stuff done. And then next week we'll be heading up to my parents for the 4th, and my sister and her family will be home. They have a new baby. She's 6 weeks old now, so she already said I'm her favorite uncle. So got to get up there and spend some time. So. All right. Well, this is a Wes Hancock podcast technically, so I end every one of these with "Go Eagles."
Go Eagles! Woo!
You bet.
I'm sure